Hello, hello! Welcome to the second episode of my fiber craft series. My name is Lina and I'm coming to you from Berlin in Germany, where I'm living with my partner and my little child, my daughter. This is a series about fiber crafts, mainly knitting, sometimes sewing, some spinning. But this episode is going to be updates on my knitting projects, and the second part I'm going to talk a bit about my visit to Hamburger Wollfabrik. It's a yarn store slash production space for yarn, which is located in Hamburg. It's very exciting, or it was very exciting for me. I wanted to go there for a long time. If you're living in the north of Germany, you have maybe heard about it already. It's a different kind of store. So I'll tell you about that and show you the yarns that I got there and my plans for it. Firstly, I'm going to show you my only finished object. I talked about it as more or less a finished object last time. In my first episode, it is the Louvre sweater by PetiteKnit. Last time I showed it, I hadn't blocked it and I was a tiny bit unhappy with the fit. Now I have blocked it and I really like how it fits, and I've already worn it quite a few times. I have a little marker here which shows the back, so I will probably put in some kind of, what is it called, a tag. Probably you already know this design if you're a knitter yourself. I have knitted this up in Gynt, a Norwegian yarn. Norwegian yarn made from Norwegian wool. So it's one of the few yarns, I think, from Sandnes, which is actually local wool. And I love this bright red color. I am gonna put it on for you so that you can see it. I have a slightly different setup this time, so I don't need to scrunch down to show how it looks on. Okay, let's see. Okay, hopefully you can see it now. So it's quite oversized. I made, I think, the size small. I could have gone one further down, but I wanted it to be really, really oversized and cozy. After I blocked it, the sleeves grew in length quite a lot, a bit more than I would have preferred. But it's okay. At the moment I'm not gonna rip it back. What I was a bit concerned with last time was that the ribbing was singeing in quite a lot, because I chose to go down the needle size for the ribbing, even though the pattern doesn't say to do that. But I liked how the ribbing looked with going a needle size down, but then before blocking it got a bit tight around the hips. After blocking, I'm quite happy with the fit. Yeah, this is it. Is there anything more to say? Well, maybe you see it already on the camera. Sometimes I have joined the, how do you say, I've woven in the ends at the front of the sweater. I will try not to do that next time, because you can see sometimes where there's a joint of two threads, two balls of yarn. I will try to do that at the side of the sweater next time. That's a small memo for myself. What else? For this sweater, I actually went for buying one of those blocking mats and blocking needles. I have for a long time avoided to do that. Usually I love getting equipment for knitting, because I think that in the fiber craft realm, all these tools are usually really aesthetic. I don't know, I love these different tools, but the foam blocking mat is horrible, I think. So I needed to do quite a few projects before I finally went and purchased that. I have to say it was quite practical to have it. The only thing is that even though I went for one which has I think 9 pieces, it's almost 1 by 1 meter. It's not enough for a huge sweater like this, so I probably need to buy another one. Okay, so that's it for the Louvre sweater. I do think that it's a tiny bit hard to combine the color with what I own. I don't have that much, I don't have a very big wardrobe. And I feel like I should maybe, I need to make some pants in maybe some brighter colors, like some brighter, not in the sense of saturated, but lighter colors. I think that would go well, like this color. I really like these 2 colors together. So maybe a pant in this color. Yes, that's it. That's that. And I realized I also wanted to talk about the sweater that I'm wearing. This is a self-drafted sweater where I'm leaning on some already bought patterns for some of the construction. It's a quite nice story behind this sweater, because I was in Oslo. This is a few years ago. I was in Oslo with my parents and my partner, and we had been out in the city and were taking the tram back home to the apartment. And on the tram, my mom sat next to a girl who had a sweater that I really liked, and she had her AirPods in, and I didn't really want to disturb her, but I was just sneakingly looking at the construction, and I took a sneak photo of her because I was thinking I have to make a sweater based on this vibe, or this sweater that I saw. So I took this sneak photo, and I convinced my parents and my partner to jump off the tram, go to the close by yarn shop, and figure out together with the yarn shop owner how I could make this sweater, or what kind of yarn would go with it. I will see if I find a picture of that original sweater. So my family luckily were up for the idea, and we jumped off the tram, rushed to the yarn store, and I talked with her, the owner of the store, I mean. What I liked with the sweater that I saw was that it had kind of a rough texture in itself, as if it looked like as if the yarn was like an uneven spun, so it had a bit of unevenness to the stitches. Additionally, if I remember right, the seams were kind of inside out, so it had this, I don't even know how to call it, like not so finished look. So we figured out together with the yarn owner that a nice yarn for it would be a silk yarn, because it has a nice drape, a shine to it, and the knitting for Olive Pure Silk turned out to be a really nice choice for the sweater, also because the way that silk yarn is made, it is not a completely even thread. I think that has to do with the fact that the pure silk from Knitting for Olive, I believe if things haven't changed, it's made from silk cocoons where the silk larva has already left the cocoon. So first of all, it's a yarn that is made without having to kill the silk larva, which of course I think is much nicer way to make fibre. And the unevenness, I believe, comes from the fact that the larva has eaten its way out of the cocoon, so the threads are broken in a lot of places, so it's not like one even stretch of silk thread. And that unevenness in the yarn is exactly what I wanted, actually. So I bought a bunch of those of that yarn in the color oat or oatmeal, wheat, in the color wheat, which is beautiful. I think beautiful beige yellowish color. I've been wearing this a lot, so if it turns out a bit funky, that's just the look. I went home and directly tried to make this pattern that I imitate the pattern that I'd seen in the sweater. I made it, how is it? One knit stitch and 2 purl stitches. That's basically the pattern. And then when we come to the seam, I have seamed it together from the wrong side. Or I'm letting the seam come out basically here. And I also wanted to highlight the seam by adding in a small, like a thin thread of a colored yarn. This is a light blue mohair, silk mohair yarn. I don't know if can you see it on camera? I have it on the kind of on the seam between the collar and the body, and also on the shoulder seam. I think this actually works even, like it shows up even more when I turn it inside out. I had another picture in mind as well that was an inspiration for this sweater, that also has this like this marked or accentuated seams that I really love. Yeah, and what also turned out, like while I was knitting this sweater, as I said, I used some other paid patterns to kind of lean on when it came to the construction on the back. So I was knitting the back first, the back panel first, and then added on the front panels. And while I was knitting, I also realized that I also really liked the other side of the garment. So I decided I could either use it, like this is the actual way that the sweater is supposed to be worn, with the seams coming out, but then I can also turn it the other way around, and then it has a more sleeker look. I can change it for you, then you can see how it looks on the other way. Let's see. All right. Puzzle all everywhere. Okay, so this is the sweater turned inside out. My shit. I also turned it back. Wait a minute. Okay. So this is basically the other way to wear the sweater. So the pattern is then obviously a bit different. It's then 2 knits, 1 purl. And when I wear it this way around, actually the blue in the seams show better. And it's kind of a tiny bit of a neater version of it. I'll show it. So, some experiences with this sweater. As you can see, after wearing, I think it was after wearing, probably also after washing it, the sleeves became very long. So silk alone, I've experienced, just grows a lot, at least lengthwise. Actually, both lengthwise and width. So they are like this. I did not plan for them to be like this. so I always fold them up. It's a bit annoying. I could also just re-knit them. I haven't done it yet. Yeah, it also grew a lot in length, so I'm usually tucking it in. That's just a few notes for the next time. I would like to make another one actually, because I really like it. I wear it a lot, even if I have to improvise or like fold up the cuffs like this. So that was a chaotic and messy introduction to that sweater. There you go. So I have my little note here. Okay, moving on to works in progress. So I have here, let's see, this is a cardigan for my daughter. I'm getting there. This is the Hamre Cardigan from Hamrestrikk, I believe she's called. I'm knitting this with self-spun yarn. I talked quite a lot about this in my first episode, so if you're interested in that, please watch that one. I'll show you a bit closer. I just realized I'm filming this now without seeing that little screen, so that is not so smart. I'm gonna change that. Then I know if I'm in the view or not. Okay, I hope I've been in the picture so far. Okay, so this is the cardigan. It has a beautiful texture, like a knit pearl striped texture. What is it? 3 knits and 1 pearl. And through the self-spun yarn, it's getting this very nice, how do you say, rustic look to it. I haven't done so much of a progress since last time. One of the reasons is that I'm totally off gauge when it comes to this pattern. And in the pattern it tells you to knit until a certain number of buttons. I am far from that, but I feel like the length is starting to become the length that I want before adding the ribbing. So I'm just hesitant if I'm gonna move to adding the ribbing at this moment, or if I want to knit it a bit longer. I see already that it's probably gonna be a bit too big for her in the next month anyways, so yeah, I'm a bit on the fence on which size do I want to make and which length. That's why I just have put this on to the side for a moment. But I really love actually how this is turning out, like the texture and the look of this cardigan. So that's that. Hello. I showed last time a baby blanket that I'm working on in an alpaca, 100% alpaca yarn. I have stopped working on this project, and the reason for that is that the person I'm giving it to, I realized she is knitting a baby blanket for her expected baby herself. She is herself making a baby blanket. That was complicated. So she doesn't really need this anymore. So I have changed plans, and I am making them this sleeping suit. Is that what it's called? Selmas sovedrakt. It's from PetiteKnit. So it's going to be like a quite big and oversized sleeping suit that she can wear when she's in the stroller, the wagon, baby stroller. So the baby is expected in August, and then it's going to be too warm to wear something like this anyway, so I'm making the size 3 to 6 months. I think I was more or less on gauge, but it looks pretty much gigantic at the moment. Can you see it? It's a pattern I wanted to make for a long time actually. So I'm happy that I'm finally getting to try it out. It's from PetiteKnit and I'm knitting it on 4 millimeters. It's simple in the way that it's only garter stitch. You start by making the hood and then you go on to the body, which is a raglan construction. And it goes by pretty fast, and then you make buttonholes on the side on the way. What else to say? Yeah, I'm a bit curious about the fit. I'm gonna try it out on my own daughter afterwards. As I said, she's 5 months, so it should be spot on when it comes to the sizing for this. It's supposed to be a bit oversized. You're supposed to have baby clothes underneath, and this is like a sleeping bag basically. The yarn that I'm using for it is, I ordered this from a wool, like from an online page that sells wool and doesn't really have a brand. It didn't come with a, what do you call it? It didn't come with a band? Paper band? Brand band? That's not what it's called. You know what I mean. And I originally ordered this to make, what is it called? To make diaper, like wool diapers from. I was when I was still pregnant, I was preparing to try out some different cotton diapers for my baby, and one version was this really old-fashioned version where you use a cloth on the inside and then you have a wool diaper on the outside. And I knitted a few of those. I can show you. So I made a few different kinds. This one, for instance, which is just a very straightforward. It has 2 legs here. Oh, can you see it? Like that. And another one which is a triangle kind of construction. If you see the triangle I have seamed up here, I left the ends open because I didn't know how thick her thighs would be. And in order to make these diapers, I ordered a lanolin yarn, so 100% wool, where there's quite a lot of fat grease in the yarn still, because the grease would be what makes the diapers like water repellent, or pee repellent. In the end, I have not used these. They're still here, I have kept them, but I ordered a lot of yarn because I thought I would only use fabric diapers and that I needed a lot of them. So that project is kind of discarded and I have a lot of yarn left, so I decided to make the Selma sovedrakt from this yarn. Yes, that's it for that. Okay. Yarn on the floor. That's actually it for works in progress and finished objects. Now I would like to talk to you a bit about this experience by going to the Hamburger, I cannot change from English to German, Hamburger Wollfabrik. So this is a place that I have wanted to go to a lot of times. It's situated in Hamburg, and which is actually on the way that we usually take each summer. So each summer my boyfriend and me, we would travel by car to Norway, and we would travel to the north of Germany through Denmark and then take the ferry to the south of Norway, where my family lives. And Hamburg is always on the way, but every time that we have traveled this stretch, we either didn't have enough time to make a stop, or the store was closed because they were also doing summer holidays. And now, last week, we went on an Easter trip with my boyfriend's family, a bit north of Hamburg, and we managed to get by this store on the way to this Easter trip. On the only day that they were open during Easter. And it was already a bit of a detour. You know how it is if you're with a small baby, like even a detour with the car is a bit of a, you have to really want it. This was probably, just the car ride was probably 1.5 to 2 hours more when we decided to go to the store. But I have wanted to go there for years. So we made it, and this is a different kind of yarn store. It already says, there's like a sign on the entrance saying, if you're here for the first time, please ask for an introduction. So basically they have a lot of different yarn blends and different fibers, and the biggest variation of colors. It's amazing. And they have these in cones, well, like this, no, not really like this. They have them in cones, basically. And all the yarn is spun with a really thin thread. So what you can do is that you choose basically the weight you want of a yarn, and then they ply it together 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or even more threads to make the thickness that you want. So you can also mix different colors or different fiber blends to make a yarn combination of your choice. And you pay by grams. So yeah, you can literally mix and match exactly how you want. So this is a bit of different concept to begin with. So already I had to just get to know the store, see what kind of fiber blends they have, and also decide for a combination. And I didn't even have a plan when I went there, which is kind of a bad idea, because you have endless options, endless opportunity, no plan. I didn't even know what thickness I needed. So it was really hard. So first of all, I was just thinking, okay, there are so many beautiful colors here, but I'm gonna blend that out and go for some neutrals that I like. And I also didn't want to go for any synthetic components, so that also excluded some of the yarn. And in the end, the first one that I chose, so the first combination that I made is this 100% merino wool, and I made it, I'm going to show you. I have mixed, please focus, I have mixed a cream white and a dark brown color. It is 4 strands, 4 strands of white and 2 strands of dark brown, because I wanted it to be mainly... Does this work? Not at all. Okay, you can see it here. I wanted it to be more white than brown. And what you maybe already see close up is that when these are plied together, they're not really twisted. The yarn is not twisted together, so so all the threads are lying kind of parallel to each other. I have never knitted with something like this before, so I'm also really unsure of how kind of structured the fabric becomes. I have made like a yarn, a small knit sample of this on 4 millimeters, and I really like how it shows. Wait. But I need to block it, wash it and block it, because I have no idea how much this yarn is going to grow after washing and how it's going to turn out, because of how these threads are just lying next to each other. Like the yarn itself doesn't really have a lot of, it's not really fluffy or or bouncy. It's very drapey. But I like how it looks. I don't know if I would like to add, it's a tiny bit darker than what I was thinking of. I was thinking of having it a bit brighter, so I might add another, either a mohair, silk mohair, or another thin white yarn. I'm a bit unsure. But okay, my head is a bit somewhere else. I'm sorry. I hope this comes together okay. So I will try to make a second sample going needle size up, because I think it's possible that the yarn will grow quite a lot. I like how it looks now, but if it grows a lot, it might be too dense after washing. So my thought for this yarn is a sweater designed by Helga Isagir, and it's called the Otti sweater. I recently found this from a collection of Isagir yarn, which is called the 1919 collection. It's a beautiful collection of patterns. They are all inspired by the weavers, the female weavers of the Bauhaus, and like one of them is Annie Albers. Who are the others? This sweater is inspired by Otti Berger. I think she was a Croatian weaver. I cannot say that word. I think she was from Croatia. And I think the sweater is just really, really beautiful. It's simple in the example sweater that is shown. It already has this marbled effect. So I think it would fit really to use this cone for that. What I'm a bit curious about is that the sweater is made in panels and then sewn together afterwards. So the panels are knit back and forth. So even if it's a kind of simple stockinette sweater, I would need to knit a lot of purl to make it. I'm not so excited about that, but I'm curious to make a sweater like this, which is not done in a round and made kind of how a lot of these sweaters, like a little, how to say, I have been kind of used to making these stockinette sweaters kind of how PetiteKnit usually makes them. So this is going to be a different experience. I have never made a panel sweater like this. Please share your experience if you have, and if anybody has knitted anything from this collection, I would like to know. Yeah, so that's the plan. Another thing with this cone. So the thing is, I was so stressed when I was in the store. We didn't have a lot of time because we had to schedule the drive for my daughter's sleep rhythm. The store was made with a completely different concept, so I had to already understand it, and I didn't know what I was going to make. So when it came to deciding how much of this I was going to buy, my mind completely froze. I had in mind that I maybe needed 850 meters of more or less this weight of yarn. So when the store owner asked me how many grams I needed, I said 850 grams, which is obviously way too much. And when I said it, I was like, something is wrong, but I didn't manage to understand in my head at this moment. And she was like, well, I think it's a tiny bit too much. Maybe we can go down to 800. So I think I probably have 2 sweater quantities worth of yarn. But that doesn't matter. It's nice. I like how it looks. So I can make 2 sweaters, or I can make my daughter something. But it just shows how stressed I was when I was in the store. So after I had decided on this, they were spooling it up, or how it's called. They were plying it together. And I was browsing the other yarns that were there, and I found a color that I really, really, really liked. It was a cotton yarn, not what I wanted. So I just asked one of the people working there if they had a wool version in the same kind of color. And the color is this very, very pale pistachio green. This is what I ended up buying. It shows like a white here, but it's actually, I don't know if I can hold it next to this white. It actually has a green color to it. Oh, it's really hard to see. That's unfortunate. It's so beautiful. Okay, the color doesn't show really well. It's a nice, super pale pistachio. In the end, she didn't had like a wool yarn of this, but she had another 100% natural fibers, I believe, which is this one. And she told me what it was made out of, but I cannot remember, because then I was simultaneously breastfeeding my daughter and looking at this yarn and thinking I should have already left 15 minutes ago. So my brain wasn't functioning. But she said silk, and I think she said cashmere, and I think there's also some other fiber blended into it. But I don't think that there's any synthetic fiber, which is why I also then wanted to go for it. And in the end, I don't have any description on what the fiber is. I have my receipt, which says that I bought 400 grams of this, but not what it's made of. So I might write Hamburger Wollfabrik, tell them the number that's written inside, and ask if they can tell me what I have bought. Camera died. Or stopped recording, I don't know why. My plan with this, since it is such a luxurious and soft yarn, probably with cashmere, with silk for sure, and something else that I don't remember, I think I want to make a very nice top with it. I'm thinking of making the Hamre Cardigan, or what is it called? Hamre T? No, the Hamre from PetiteKnit with short sleeves. Because I think it has this, yeah, I think it would work really well with this yarn. The person working in the yarn shop said that this yarn will bloom a lot, so I should wash it, I think 3 times in the bathtub or like by hand, and then rinse it 1 time in the washing machine after I have knit the garment, and it will bloom a lot. So I probably also really need to make a knit, how do you say, like a test before, so that I see how much it actually blooms and which needle size is the right one. But yeah, I think a top like the muggy cardigan would be really, really sweet. I think I have enough yarn to actually make it with long sleeves as well. So maybe I will do that. I will see when I get that far. First I'll knit a sample, and then I will see. Anyways, when I left the the yarn store, I had this really weird feeling of having rushed to a decision. I didn't know if I liked what I had bought. Now I'm so happy, and I think they are also so beautiful together. Imagine this being a tiny bit more green. Yeah, I am super happy. And what is of course really cool when knitting with this from a cone is that you don't have to weave in any ends, or it depends on the construction, but you just have a continuous amount of yarn, or you know what I mean. You don't have to join ends. Okay. That was it. I felt like this episode was even more chaotic than the previous one. I'm sorry for that. But it's how it is. I only have very few moments to film these these episodes because I'm at home with my daughter mostly. Now she's out with her grandfather in like making some rounds with the stroller. So I'm really happy for that, and I just have to work with what I got. So I hope that this was interesting for you guys, and I will come back in the third episode.